All right, howdy, y'all. Hope you're having a good day. As always, God bless America. Today we're going to be going over a hive mind video about Tim and Kamala in Highspeed, so let's get straight into it.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Okay, so we know exactly what the media is doing. We expect it. We see it before it happens. I mean, we just know that they're going to gaslight us into oblivion. Right now, it's Operation Memory Hole Kamala, but I guess from today on, it's Memory Hole Kamala and Little Timmy Wals. They don't want you to know. They don't want to bring it up. They don't want anybody to highlight it. They don't want anybody to know the truth. They just want you to pay attention to their sugar-coated truth. Like I mentioned in the previous video, Democrats just want you to focus on the fact that apparently Tim Wals cares about kids. But there's obviously more to the story. There's a lot that they're not telling you. There's a lot to this Kamala Harris-Tim Wals connection. It's not all lollipops, puppies, and rainbows. No, quite to the contrary. These two have quite the sinister similarity. Let's have a conversation about exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so the Tim Wals Kamala Harris connection. Obviously, that's what we ought to be talking about, considering, I mean, they're now a duo, partners in crime, and I don't mean that metaphorically, no, I mean that quite literally. This right here might be their undoing. JD Vance has already deployed the latest talking point.
This is a guy who's proposed shipping more manufacturing jobs to China, who wants to make the American people more reliant on garbage energy instead of good American energy, and has proposed defunding the police just as Kamala Harris does. I think it's interesting, actually, they make an interesting tag team because, of course, Tim Wals allowed rioters to burn down Minneapolis in the summer of 2020, and then the few who got caught, Kamala Harris helped bail them out of jail. So it is more instructive for what it says about Kamala Harris that she doesn't care about the border, she doesn't care about crime, she doesn't care about American energy, and most importantly, she doesn't care about the Americans who have been made to suffer under those policies.
Holy freaking moly, it's totally true. Friends, let's not forget that this is what Minneapolis, Minnesota looked like back in the summer of 2020.
They call that a peaceful protest, but yet all the people in January 6th are still in prison. None of these people went to jail. They let them burn. If they did go to jail, Kamala bailed them out with our government money, and the January 6 people are still sitting in prison while the people were allowed to literally burn Minneapolis down. If you're a Republican, you need to make sure you're registered and ready to vote in November. If not, our country's gone.
And all that, of course, happened on Tim Walz' watch. In fact, it all seemed to happen almost indirectly under his approval. When it was happening, he didn't seem all that concerned at all. No, instead taking to the podium and talking about George Floyd and other nonsense.
For the peace and the generosity, the kindness and the love that's been shown on our streets of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and across Minnesota over the last several days. And last evening was another example of that.
Peace and love while everything's on fire.
We saw peaceful protests across the city. We saw memorials continue to grow for George Floyd down on 38th in Chicago. We saw beautiful interactions on the state capitol, where out of respect, the National Guard troops there told the protesters out of respect they would go back away to the building and just take care of those vehicles that were out front, which of course they did. Not protesters at that point, certainly neighbors and friends and agents of change.
Here's another clip of Tim Walz talking about equity and inclusion and why America's lack of it is the reason why I guess it deserved the summer of riots back in 2020.
A society that does not put equity and inclusion at the center of it is certainly going to eventually come to the places where we're at. This is a moment of inflection. It's a moment of real change. It's a moment.
Equity, inclusion, just to be clear, there's no such thing. Like, you try and give equity and inclusion to a crackhead, he's just going to rob you. Like, you can't, it's not feasible. Like, a lot of people, the people that have nothing deserve what they have. You are the decider of your life. If you don't like where your life is at, you are the only one that can change it. So you can give all these crackheads a bunch of money and all you're going to do is help them overdose. Like, equity inclusion is garbage. You need to work hard to get to a good place. If you can't do that, then you deserve what you got.
That those folks who are out there demanding this are not going to take a commission or a report. They're going to want fundamental change.
Yeah, totally, completely insane stuff. That's the kind of thing that Tim Wals was saying while black communities were burning to the ground over a totally false narrative that Democrats were fundraising on. Tim Wals refused to call the National Guard. He sat idly by and essentially supported the cause. He allowed rioters to run rampant across his state with little to no accountability. And then, of course, here comes the Kamala connection to all this. The slim few that did end up getting picked up and slammed in the slammer, locked behind bars in jail, well, they didn't spend too much time there. there because Kamala Harris was ready with her Minneapolis bail fund, or her Minnesota bail fund, I forget what the name exactly was. But anyway, she was there with her get-out-of-jail-free cards, handing them out to violent rioters in mass. Holy freaking moly, and we remember what that resulted in.
Well, having been jailed on domestic violence charges, George Howard posted an $11,500 bail. He did it with the support of the Minnesota Freedom Fund. Now, one of those bailed out was George Howard, August the 6th. A few weeks later, there was a road rage incident. Damian Ortiz was shot and killed. Howard was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. The Minnesota Freedom Fund acknowledged supporting Howard's bail.
Yeah, people losing their lives after a violent criminal was allowed to walk free. Well, of course, none of that matters, because the Waltz family was too busy smelling the burning rubber, basking in all the progressive action being taken. This is Tim Waltz's wife, basically saying what I just said.
I would say those first days, when there were riots, I could smell the burning tires. And that was a very real thing. And I kept the windows open for as long as I could because I felt like that was such a touch.
For as long as she could. That means she shut him immediately. I kept the windows open as long as I could. I guarantee you that leaving them open as long as I could was like 5 seconds. And she didn't even have the windows open to begin with. You could tell that she's got central air with air conditioning. As soon as she smelled burning tires, she went back in the house. These people are a fraud and liars.
Stone of what was happening.
Weird, buddy. You're weird.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but these people are completely insane. That's who they want you to vote for. The guy who's got no problem with criminals essentially setting ablaze entire neighborhoods into a fiery oblivion. No issue there. That guy and the lady who bails out the criminals who burnt down your neighborhood. That's the frickin' Democrat ticket. It's unreal. It's hard to rationalize logically. It simply doesn't make any frickin' sense. But I guess Democrats, they're feeling bullish. They're thinking, hey, we got the dementia-ridden geriatric 80-year-old into office. If we got an essential lifeless corpse into office, then surely we could get the socialists elected. Are the American people really gonna let this happen? Really. One of the number one issues over the last couple of years has been crime, especially in big Democrat cities. Democrats have enacted bail reform. They've essentially legalized many of these misdemeanor crimes and some felony crimes. People are getting arrested into the left-wing revolving door justice system, only to, of course, the name implies what happens next. These criminals are then let right back onto the streets to reoffend and continue to victimize law.
I actually seen a statistic not too long ago that they're letting all the same people out of jail. So almost all the crime is committed by less than 5% of the population. Less than 5%. So if they would just lock these people up that are committing the crimes, crime would be down. Like they're letting all the criminals out of jail, and I've seen some of these arrest records. They've got 10 or 11 felonies on assault, from assault to armed robbery, and they're just letting them back out of jail. This is dumb. This is absolutely dumb. Just like they said just a second ago, Kamala helped that guy get out of jail, and he murdered someone. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If you vote for these people, you are the one that needs to take a mental evaluation.
Law-abiding, tax-paying citizens. It's been a major issue. Democrats are at the root of it. Everybody knows this. We've seen district attorneys forced to resign or recalled. And in this environment, thanks to a little bit of Democrat social media and mainstream media fake news trickery, all of that goes away. And now it's all the buzz to support the defund the police, pro-rioter, let the criminals do what they want, pro-drug abuse on the street Democrats. Make it frickin' make sense. People don't make sense. Pay attention past the headline, please. Again, I'm going to repeat what I keep saying, regardless of whether or not I sound like a broken record. The Democrats are going on and on about how Tim Walz cares about the kids. Oh, the kids. Every frickin' time Nancy Pelosi's favorite emotional manipulation, get people to vote for you tactic, simply use children as an emotional tool. They're just going on and on with that same talking point that Tim Walz signed a bill giving government subsidized breakfast to kids attending school. It's all lollipops, puppies, and rainbows. But the reality of Tim Walz's leadership isn't what they're trying to make it appear on the surface. This is what Minnesota really looks like. Your typical crime-ridden, leftist big city asshole. Just like all the other woke places of America. Don't let them frickin' fool you. This is a BLM Antifa ticket. And obviously we know those two organizations didn't exactly age well. So please, don't allow this Democrat ticket to age well either. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and
All right, that's today's video. Like I said, I'll say it again. Republicans, you need to make sure you're ready to vote. And try and talk some sense into any liberals you know. You can't vote with your feelings. You need to look at the politics, which Kamala Harris has none. She has, her politics are release the criminals, and the cops are racist. They're crazy. All right, if you like the video, like it. If you like it a lot, subscribe for more high-speed news. Till next time, God bless y'all.